Namaskaram. We are in the month of March. Winter is over. The spring equinox is approaching shortly. So we thought we'll make a video on equinox. In this video, we'll look at the relationship of the planet with respect to the sun on these equinox days and also the spiritual significance of equinox. Most of us we think that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But this is only partially true. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west only on the equinox days with respect to the equatorial plane. All other days of the year, the sun rises either in the northeast direction or in the southeast direction. So, what are all these equinox days? We have two equinoxes in a year. The first equinox will fall 20th to 21st of March, and the second equinox will fall in the dates of 22nd or 23rd of September. We will associate the March equinox more with the northern hemisphere of the planet, and the September equinox is associated with the southern hemisphere of the planet. On these equinox days, we will observe so many things. I have listed few things here. One is we will see that the day length and the night length is approximately equal. And also during these equinox days, both the hemispheres of the planet they will receive same amount of light and energy. And also with respect to the equatorial plane, the sun rises in the exact east and sets in the west. And during the equinox days, the sun declination angle is 0. We'll look at these aspects one by one. When we say the day length and the night length is equal on the equinox days, we might have noticed that we feel that in winter the day is shorter and the night is longer. And also in the summer, the day is longer and the night is shorter. Or in our practical sense, we may feel that during winter the sun sets so fast. In the evening around 6 o'clock itself, we'll feel that the sun has set and the darkness has come. Similarly, in the summer, we'll feel that the day is longer. That is, even at the 7 o'clock in the evening, we'll feel that there is enough bright sunlight. So this is because of the tilt of the planet with respect to the ecliptic plane. So because of this, we will feel different duration of day and night throughout the year. But during the equinox days, the duration of day and night would be approximately equal. That is, during the equinox days, both the hemispheres of the planet will receive same amount of light and energy. As seen here, this is a day of certain balance between these two hemispheres. And as we were telling, in these equinox days, the sun rises exactly in the east and sets in the west with respect to the equatorial plane. In all other days, the sun either rises in the southeast or in the northeast direction. So we can see that as the sun rises, the position of the sun with respect to the geographical east of the planet varies throughout the year. But only in the equinox days, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And also we can see the declination angle of the sun is 0. That we can see in the small animation here. That is, at 12 o'clock in the day, the sun positions exactly over the equator only in these equinox days. Now, all other aspects that we have seen are observations during the equinox day. This is not the effect of equinox. The cause of the equinox is the axial tilt of the earth. We all know that the earth is spinning with respect to its own axis, as we see here, and the earth is orbiting the sun in an elliptical path. Now, one thing we should note here is these celestial objects shown here in this animation are not to the scale. If you look at the actual scale, if you visualize the sun as a football of 300 mm diameter, then the diameter of the earth would be 3 mm, which would be just like a peppercorn. So that is the actual scale with which the solar system is constructed, but for this animation purpose, we are showing it like this. Now, as the earth is orbiting the sun in an elliptical path, it naturally makes a plane. So this is the plane with which the earth is orbiting the sun. We call this as the ecliptic plane. Now the axis of spin of the planet with respect to the ecliptic plane, we see it is not perpendicular like this, what is shown here. So what I mean is the earth is not spinning and orbiting the sun as it is shown here. Here the axis of spin and the plane of orbit are perpendicular. This is not the way it is happening. Actually, the axis of spin is tilted 23.5 degree with respect to the plane of orbit. It is like this. If you observe closely in this animation, during the month of June, the planet makes maximum tilt in the northern side with respect to the sun. Because of this, we will have summer in the northern hemisphere because the northern hemisphere receives maximum light and energy. Thirdly, In the month of December, the planet will have the maximum inclination towards the southern side. So this makes the southern hemisphere to receive maximum light and energy, and we feel winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. Interestingly, 2 days in this year or 2 points in this orbit, the planet receives equal amount of light and energy. These 2 points we call as these equinox points. That is during September 23rd and March 21st. The planet receives equal amount of light and energy. We call them as the equinox points. We understood that with respect to the relationship the planet makes with respect to the sun, on the equinox days, the planet is at centered balance. That is, both the hemispheres of the planet, the northern and the southern hemispheres, they are at certain balance. But what happens within the human system? What happens to the life forms that are in the planets? What is the spiritual significance of this equinox? We have a short video where Sadhguru talked about equinox. We will watch that video.
Today's equinox. All of you know what it means in terms of the celestial equator. So on this day, this celestial equator is in perfect alignment with the sun. That means all the influences upon the planet are at an equilibrium. The significance of equinox for the human being is, on this day, the masculine and the feminine is at an even keel. In the yogic tradition, this day is seen as a day when one has the best possibility of transcending the limitations and the compulsions of one's physical longings, transcending the lustful compulsions within the human body. The possibility of that is at its best. On this day, Shiva sat as an Ardhanari, that is, he was half woman and half man, because both are even today. So equinox is a day to bring balance to this, to not be identified with this or that, not even being a man or a woman, not even being human or another creature, just to sit here and throb.